Hi everyone, welcome to the July 2025 meetup. As you'll notice, I'm not Mark. Mark unfortunately wasn't able to be with us for today, so he's asked me to step in as host for the meeting. I think basically it's a presentation from me today, but what I would like to say right from the start is for those of you who those of you involved in this, think of this as a bit of a discussion forum as well. Let's try and sort of to and fro. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you quite a few extensions and bits and bobs I've put together, which are fairly alpha level at the moment. And I'm quite keen to have people give me some feedback and maybe some ideas where you think that might improve things. So if you're all ready, let's just go for it and we'll talk. I'm just going to share a screen.
This is where it all goes horribly wrong.
Yeah, when I remember how to share this. Yeah, it's yeah, that's better. Now which screen am I supposed to be sharing that one? Okay, I'll just drag that off. Let's get rid of the forum. You should be able to now see my screen and you should be able to see Wappler, yeah?
Yep.
All see that? That's great. Okay, what I want to do, I've actually written an agenda. That's unusual for me. I want to go over three things today. And it's just going to be a talk through as opposed to actually building anything, because quite a bit to get through. And as I say, a lot of it is fairly alpha anyway. I've got a Kanban. I'll call it an extension, but it's not really an extension. It's just a script which sort of keys into the various triggers and events to allow you to do a Kanban board. I want to discuss a bit about the document management extensions that I've been releasing lately. And then I want to show you a project I'm considering doing. I won't say for definite now, which probably will give you a better insight into why I've built a lot of these extensions. So if everybody's happy, I'll just start with a quick demo of the Kanban system. Let's get rid of that message time me bonkers. Right, one moment. Okay, so hopefully you can all see a page saying Kanban demo, yeah?
Yep.
Brilliant. Okay, so I've got demos of the script working on cards and also images as well. Just have a look at the card manager. Here, I'll just reset that board. Um, Classic situation where you've got, let's say, a new inquiries coming in and you want to allocate them to the appropriate departments within your company. And with this, you can literally just do as you would expect with a Kanban system. You can just drag them into the various categories as you want. Some diagnostic messages up in the top right hand corner, which don't need to be there. That's just for me for debug purposes. Um, and if I just pop open the console, I'll just clear that off. You'll be able to see there's a lot of console logging going on at the moment. So if we drop that in, you can see that I've dragged a card with an ID of 4, which have been appended. I'll explain about what the root is and the IDs and parents. And what this script actually does is it acts on a variable called KB data, and it directly manipulates the values within that variable so you can read that within your Wappler application. Just close that up. You can also obviously drag things around internally within it as well. And and reorder your cards. Do the same with an image manager. I'll just reset. These two screens are actually using the same data table in the background, the same record, just showing slightly different fields. So as I change one, they all change. Here again, let's say we've got a clothing product, t-shirts black. We'll drop into t-shirts black. I've added a little bit of an effect there. You can see you get I think you hopefully you'll be able to see the shadow, which is the image that you're dragging, just so you can see what you're actually dragging. We'll put that into hats, into trousers. And say all these red backs are automatic, so this is, it's not temporary. This is permanent. No need for submit buttons or anything like that. But just to take things a stage further, if I just open the card one as well, we'll just drag that into a separate window, and let's just tile them. So now we've got two different Kanban boards, two different areas. You can either have on different pages, or these could be two boards on the same one. Hang on a moment. Let's just see who's wanting to get in. Give me one moment when I find the waiting room. My apologies. Right, I'll just quickly finish us off, then I'll let whoever's waiting in. Yeah, you can actually drag from one Kanban board to another. And that's all linked. That's where you saw Kanban route. That's how it identifies which Kanban board would be used in that particular case. I'm just going to close them down. I'm going to just have a quick look and see who it is we've got in the waiting room. I don't seem to have the.
Don't worry, Brian.
It's all right.
Oh,
I missed that. I missed that admit message there. Oh, there we are. Let's have a look. Sorry, guys. If I knew how to get back into the waiting room, I would let these people in. But
I've done it. I've done it. They're in.
Oh, you've done it. Oh, good man. Good man.
Yeah. So you're fine. Don't you worry about it. I'll keep an eye on
Okay,
it.
right. Thanks for that, John. Right. So we've seen the Kanban board actually being used. I'm going to switch into a different project here. So how does that work? It's really, really simple. We've got the server connect that pulls a data structure, and that's just a nested structure of the group headings followed by the let's say the images inside them. And we have a very simple repeat. So we've got the container, that's your Kanban root. You've got your role, which is your groups, and then you've got your items within those groups. All straightforward Wappler stuff. The only specifics now is obviously we have this variable which is managed. And if we look at the code here, you can see we have some pseudo classes. Kanban root, and that tells the Kanban system where the root is of the object. We have Kanban drop zone. That tells the system that that is an area that can be dropped into. And then last of all, we have a Kanban draggable, and that indicates that it is a item that can be dragged. And the script, which is literally just tagged in at the end here, monitors all of those, the use of those classes, and it manages all of the Kanban interactions automatically by them. Only slightly complicated pieces. Obviously, you need to have each of your IDs for your objects and your groups unique. So we're binding the IDs in. Now, I'm not going to go into huge more detail on that now, because I will be, as a couple of little tweaks I want to do, then I will be releasing this on the forum with a full tutorial. I just wanted to really let you all have a bit of a heads up on what that was, because you'll be seeing it in use a little bit later on this afternoon. Has anybody got any questions?
No, I think
I
that's
did say it'd
excellent.
be nice to have a bit of chat.
Mhm. That's really good.
Thank you. So, okay then. Well, if that's either people weren't impressed or people are gobsmacked or whatever, I'll pretend
It's
it's the very impressed side of things.
it's one of
Um,
those things that you immediately have going through your mind. Oh, that would be good for such and such a job, or that would be good for this project.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I looked at it and thought drag and drop interface for database management, which is basically what the Kanban does. I mean, it's at each drop, it changes that variable. It then it triggers a server action on drop, um, and that then feeds the IDs, etc., over to a server action, which then does the data manipulation in the background. Um,
Spot on.
So, very, very quickly, then I'll just go through the my most recent extensions. They might seem a bit random or unusual, but you'll see it by the end of this why I've done all of these. So I've dropped them all within data transformations because that's basically what we're doing. We're talking about document management. Might as well just go through them in order very briefly. I'm not going into detail. Doctor HTML, it literally is as simple as you can feed it a file reference. So you take typically from the file upload, you pass that to this extension. It will then convert that to an HTML. At its basic level, it will keep the fairly standard, shall we say, HTML tags. It'll strip out the more unusual Microsoft Word styles that it throws everywhere. You can do a custom style mapping. It's pretty complicated. This is based on an NPM called Mammoth. If you want to look at that, I suggest you go over onto the NPM site and look at Mammoth. It's a little bit temperamental because if you feed it styles it doesn't understand, it can cause the extension. It doesn't fall over, but you don't get the output that you want. And you can also choose to have raw output. So basically that is, it'll take an HTML file, it will strip all of the code out of it and return purely just the text itself. I'm thinking that'd be a really good application for a cleaner before people paste stuff into the likes of Summernote from Word. If we can, at the moment there isn't an easy way of making that automatic, but certainly we could give them a facility to be able to maybe pop up a modal, paste in the word, hit that. It can then strip that out and can copy it into the clipboard and then paste it into your application for you. There you are, your word's cleaned up. But I mean, I know customers love Word. We're all going to live with that. Developers like us hate it, so that's life. What else have we got? We've got the very simple one. I'm amazed that this wasn't in Wappler, and that's very simple. It's just read file contents. Drop a file name to it, does a binary read, returns the contents of that file as a text variable. It allows us then to be able to manipulate it, so it's a halfway house to doing things more sophisticated.
Is there a write file contents? Or
No, strangely enough, I haven't. I mean, it's so easy to do. I can knock one of them up in 10 minutes. But I don't know why. Why did I think that was already in Wappler? Um, it's not, is it? No,
no.
I'll write that one. I'll knock that up over the weekend. That's not a problem. Um, what else have we got? We've got the HTML to MD. Now, Markdown files have suddenly become very topical because of AI. AI is it seems to favor MD files. As Wappler developers, we're kind of used to working within the HTML environment. This simply takes HTML, converts it to a MD file. Again, it uses an NPM called Showdown, if I remember rightly, um, to do it automatically for you. So it's fairly straightforward and reliable process. You can drop the file, or you can actually just pass it a text stream. So you could have a read an MD file, and you can actually pass it as a variable by clicking the data as text.file and inputting that. We'll leave those for a moment. MD to HTML is just exactly the opposite of what I've just outlined. I did XML to JSON. Somebody sort of asked me about how to deal with an XML stream, which they wanted to process within Wappler. So I put together XML to JSON. So that takes an XML input as a file, and it will then convert that to a JSON response. So it's quite usable with some of these legacy APIs that are still knocking about that are XML based. JSON to XML RSS. This one actually was TMR from the forum. He lives locally to me. He's a personal friend, and he asked me about this. So I thought, oh, that would be fun to do. So again, done that. Basically, you can feed it a JSON input. There's various tags. There's a long tutorial on this to be able to wrap it with the appropriate additional bits that you might need. You can add headers in to the RSS stream as well if you want. It doesn't have it will be an XML output unless you give it an XML declaration, then the extension will assume you want a full RSS output. So TMR is using that to feed that through to various services that uses for advertising. And the last one, which is, I love this, I'll be honest, JSON to table. We've long had this problem within Wappler of, say you want to send an email, but you want to include table data in it. You can't just pop a repeat into the mail object. So what this does is it will take a JSON input. You can optionally give style classes to each of the objects within that, so you can style it yourself. And what it will do is it will output the appropriate HTML to be able to make that a table. You can also optionally pick if you use the last row as a footer. So if the last row has got totals in, etc. And if I've got, give me a second, you can see there, I'm not even bother firing on the browser. That's just a simple data query that's passed down. I've set it so the last row is a footer. So I've styled that slightly differently. I mean, this is very, very basic styling. But what you actually have in that output there, it can now be used in other areas because you've got it in the within the server action. So basically, you've got that there. That's the setup of it. That's various styles. Don't forget, we're in a server environment here. So we don't have Bootstrap. We can't use classes. We're purely passing styles over to the client end. And then once we've got that, you can literally just embed that table into an email. So you see there, this one, I've just embedded it into an email. And that will then send the table out embedded into that email. And you can embed that in basically anywhere you want, and it will reproduce that table within whatever element that you're using. I think we're there now. I think that's covered all of the extensions. So that's it. John, I think maybe had to pop off because he did say he might have to nip off for 10 minutes. John, great idea of the light extension. I hadn't realized that wasn't there. I am very happy to tweak any of these extensions for people should they have a specific need. And if anybody else has got any sort of ideas about, document style conversion or, anything else, please feel free just to shout up, drop me a message, or if you want to say something, tell me now, and I'll be able to look at whether I can provide that functionality for you. Everybody happy and quiet? Okay. So what have I been doing all of this for? Where am I going with this? Just bouncing ideas around, really. It started with discussing with Ben about he's doing some stuff on digital signing, etc., and document management. And it made me think, well, how can we pull all of this together and do something a little bit fun? So I started playing, as I tend to do, and came up with the idea of what about making an ebook and making an ebook of the Wappler forum or the Wappler document, and then perhaps extending it and just see where we go from there. So what I did was I fired up Wappler. I've integrated the Kanban system with the data structures that we'd use for a ebook. This is it is very, very alpha. Don't expect everything that's working, but I'll just give you a little run through as to the idea that I've got. Please say, I know nobody's said anything yet, but please chirp in if you want. It, it's hard work down here when you're all on your own, you know. So here we've got the potentially two books. Um, I've just added four chapters, basically, those books at this stage. Let's maybe look at the App Connect section. And within that, you have sections within those chapters. So the App Connect section, let's look at App Connect components. And then within that, we can actually go further and see sub-components. And really, I suppose the bit that I wanted to show you, then, you know, it's, as you would expect as a Kanban, is how we can use the extensions that I've done and the latest releases of Wappler to be able to produce the content that we would use to produce a book, which I'm thinking of doing. That'd be an online service. If I can convince myself that I've got the time. So let's just run through this and I'll explain how the different extensions are being used. First of all, if we can just import a file of any type. So if I just pick here, let's say I want to add that checkout MD file in as text. I can just process that document, pop into here, I'll just go into code view, paste that in, and there we are. We see we've got that MD file has been read, processed, pushed into clipboard, and then we pasted that into a summer note area so we can save it, edit it, improve it, etc. And we can do the same with other types. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Sorry. Let's say we'll drop in a just a straightforward text file, process that, paste that in, and again. So we have the options of HTML, text, Markdown, or docx can be cleaned up, processed, and dropped into our summer note area. Second area is we can actually ask AI to write the text for this. So what I've done is I've used my all-in-one AI extension that I released about a year ago now, I think. And I could say, well, it'd be very, very simple. Tell me sorry, how to use Wappler collapsible regions in App Connect. Okay, it isn't going to know an awful lot about that because that's not something that AI knows off the top of its head. Now, I know we could do this directly into the Wappler AI, but this is an alternative to it. And then we can actually add a training file. So in this case, we'll one second, just get there. These are just the Wappler training files that are pulled out of the Wappler app. I suppose I could just randomly pick one really. Let's just give it the standard App Connect MD file. We can give them more than one if we wanted. We can give it multiples. We could maybe give it the App Connect core as well. We'll tell it to process that. What that's done is that pushed the question and all of that training information out to, this has gone to, can't remember which AI I've sent it to now, but it matters not. And we can now then paste that in. And that is our response. Pretty unimpressive because it's DeepSeek has gone to. I've given it a very small number of tokens, but we can actually, directly from within Wappler, we can feed it the training files and the question and get a returned response. Everybody followed that? Everybody happy? Nobody fallen asleep yet? Okay, what's the old, oops, what else can we do? George very kindly gave us a dump of the docs as JSONs file the other day. So I've pulled those into the system. So let's say I want to know something about front end components using Summernote. To create a text as a basis for a chapter, well, a subsection of a book, I can literally just process that. And that should now, I'll just get rid of that, pop it in, paste that into there, and we see there we've actually got a copy of the Summernote docs pulled automatically into our editable region so that could be cleaned up, polished up, edited up, or whatever. And then the very last one at the end of the day is we can pull it in from a Wappler forum post itself. So if I go into the forum, when you open a post, you'll see it has a number here, in this case 63665, and that's obviously the ID of the record. What I've done is I've used that as another way of pulling things in. I just happen to know that is a something like Font Awesome 5 Pro, I think that one. Click on process on that one. And I can then pop that in and it will see that's pulled out. So we can actually pull not just the docs files from the AI, we can actually pull any document within the forum into the system. Now from here, I'm starting to think, am I going to do an ebook? Obviously, I won't be using Wappler's material for obvious reasons. One, it's theirs, and two, is a lot of it needs a good update anyway, to be honest. But it's just a foundation of something that I've been thinking about for a while. So, guys, that's what I wanted to talk about today. So I'm just going to have to throw this open now to the rest of the group to discuss whatever you want to, because I've got nothing else to say. Total
That was really
silence.
interesting, Brian. Thank you. I would actually pay for that product, the one you've just demoed, to be honest.
Okay.
Um,
Is that the ebook or the extensions or whatever? Do you mean?
this kind of ebook and like bringing
Yeah.
it in. It's really interesting, actually.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, as you'll know, I never charge for the extensions, etc. that I do, or the videos. I do invite a cup of coffee. I think I get about £100 a year out of that, which sort of goes towards the cost of sort of infrastructure, etc. If I was to do the ebook, I would have to look at making it a subscription service, purely because it's going to be a lot of data, a lot of bandwidth, a lot of storage, and I've got to cover the costs on servers, etc. But it wouldn't be a lot of money. I'm not looking to make a profit. I'm just looking to cover costs as far as I could to do that.
I did have a question about the Kanban stuff.
Yeah, sure,
So
please do.
if you forgive me, I had to drop off for the first 5 minutes, so you probably covered this. So sorry if you have to repeat yourself. But the drag and drop functionality, are you doing that natively within Wappler, or are you using
It is
a
purely
extension?
it is a JS script that you just tag into the page, and it's because it hooks into the various events, your drag and your drop events. It just monitors the movement of objects around the screen. Three pseudo classes that are in there: Kanban root, Kanban, which is the board, basically the unique ID of the board; Kanban drop zone, which is an area where an object can be dropped; and a third pseudo class of Kanban draggable. And by those three pseudo classes, the JS monitors the activities, the drags and the drops, and actually manages it all for you. So it's not
So
even
that's
an
a Java.
extension. It is
Is
literally just a link to a JavaScript file. Yeah.
is that a JavaScript file that you created, or is that an
Yeah, yeah.
external?
It's one of, well,
Yeah.
that's me with a lot of help from my friend, the co-pilot.
Right. Okay.
Let's have a quick look. It'll be
The
in
reason
here.
I ask is because I was actually thinking of also creating a Kanban type app, but more for like project management, just because I use Kanban a lot in my work and personal life. It's
Yep.
like something I'm quite passionate about. Um, but I'm not some of the kind of public Kanban tools out there, particularly like the likes of Trello and Jira. I'm not the biggest fan of.
Got you.
I thought about okay,
Well,
maybe
this
potentially
is a
create my
script.
own.
It's not big. It's sort of 160 lines of JS. A lot of it written by AI, not me, because I'm not a brilliant JS programmer. I'm all right, but I'm certainly not brilliant. Um, and you literally just tag this into your page, and you'll see it just hooks into the events. Just creates a load of event listeners, and it listens to the drag start, the drag end, the drop, and it monitors those, whether the objects have those pseudo classes, to know whether you're allowed to do the particular action that you've asked it to do. Um, I've just got a little bit of tweaking to do on this. It's a little issue. It works absolutely perfectly in images. There's a couple of little quirks within cards, and I think that's purely because where cards example, you're actually dragging the column that the card is in as opposed to the card for technical reasons, and sometimes it glitches a bit, but I'll get that done. Then as soon as that's sorted, I'll release this officially on the forum along with a full tutorial, so anybody will be able to pick it up. And as I always say, if people want to have a look at making my code better, then I really don't have a problem with that. Consider it public domain.
Can I ask why you didn't use one? Like, there's a few kind of publicly available libraries for this sort of drag and drop functionality. Was it just like intellectual curiosity? You just wanted to sort of do it
Yeah, a
yourself?
bit of that. Plus, what I find is often if you take these sort of available scripts, you spend more time trying to integrate them into Wappler than you actually
Mm.
do writing it from scratch. Some of them, they look great till you actually look at the integration side of it and become a bit of a nightmare. This isn't a difficult script. Um, so I thought that way I know how it's working, I can see what's happening, and if there's problems, I can amend it, tweak it, etc. accordingly, which is not always the case with the scripts that you'll find elsewhere on the internet or whatever. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Brilliant. Really
Brilliant,
impressive.
brilliant. Anybody else? Go on, we've got 25 minutes to kill if we want. I'm happy to ask each other questions, or have a party, sing us a song. No?
I'm interested in the kind of makeup of the group. Like, how do people use Wappler? So, um, I'm an aspiring kind of entrepreneur, and I have ideas, and I want to try and make them. That's my, I'm not, I have a normal kind of job. But on the side, I'm trying to create something interesting, and I've got lots of ideas. What's the makeup of the group? Are some people like full time kind of developers of using Wappler, or you don't mind
Yeah.
answering.
Can we throw that open to the group and anybody give them any feedback on that, please? Okay.
Too shy, too heavy of a question.
Yeah,
I
it looks
think.
like too shy, too heavy. Well, unless somebody's got an idea of something I could talk about, something the question they've got, quite happy for anybody to fire a question at me. If I can answer it, I will. Obviously, there'll be little point in labouring this any further. So yeah, I mean, if that's the case, I suppose we'll just have to call this meeting to a close.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Frank. That was good. Thanks.
Okay. Right. Well, thank you everybody for joining the meeting, and I hope you enjoyed what you did see, and hopefully we'll see you again next month. I want to find out how to turn off recording now.